Great. Good morning and good afternoon to our guests and visitors in this webinar today that we are discussing with a great panel here on how the US and the African SMEs are overcoming multiple challenges to the cross-border e-commerce. So thanks to our great organizers, the eCommerce Institute and all the other partners here in Kenya and in the US who have brought this conversation to a reality. It was about time, and especially with all that's happening across the border, both in Africa and also in the US, and the current ongoing talks and negotiations that are in regards to that. And what a better way to enhance this with e-commerce. So today I'm joined in with a very capable and able panel of small businesses, both from the US and here in Africa, particularly in Kenya, and also some facilitators from the US side. So I will take this opportunity just first to introduce myself. I'm Elisha Bwatuti. I'm a program manager, the program manager to a program known as the Kenya Small Business Development Centers program. And this is a program that has been greatly and graciously been funded by the USAID here in Kenya. And it's a 5 years program where we are looking at offering centers that will support small businesses in training and hand-holding advisory and assisting them to connect them to markets and even financing. So the beat of the markets is very essential, and we will also be seeing what some of our MSMEs that we are supporting here in Kenya have been able to achieve, and also looking also across border, where this same model is being replicated from the US, and it's being for the first time being adopted and contextualized for the African context. So I'm joined in with also my a good friend and also a colleague who we have worked with from the US Small Business Administration. So I'll give her a chance to introduce herself and also let us know who she has brought on board in this panel. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Elisha. It's great to see you again. My name is Sarah Bonner. I work for the U.S. Small Business Administration's Office of International Trade. The U.S. Small Business Administration, also known as SBA, is the only cabinet-level federal agency fully dedicated to small business. It provides counseling, capital, and disaster relief. And our Office of International Trade works to enhance the ability of small businesses to compete in the international marketplace. We mirror what SBA is doing as a whole, providing education and technical assistance, funding, and we work to increase access, focusing on global opportunities. At SBA, I have the great privilege of answering our international trade hotline in addition to working on trade policy. And today we're joined by two excellent examples of U.S. small businesses active in e-commerce. I'm joined today by Major Clemens and Sean Casey, and I'd like to turn it over first to Major to introduce himself. Thank you so much for joining.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Major Clemens. I'm one of 3 founders of West Africa Shop. West Africa Shop is a trade platform where we connect West African customers with US retailers and fulfill the last mile delivery of the customer to West Africa. Pleasure to be here.
And Sean, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sean Casey. I'm the CEO of Rotorcorp LLC. We are a helicopter parts sales company based in Atlanta, Georgia. And we use our e-commerce platform to sell parts to helicopter companies in 45 countries worldwide, including a large number of customers across the African continent.
Thanks, Elijah. Back over to you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and the great introduction from Major and Sean. So here back in Africa, Kenya to be precise, we also have some of our beneficiaries from the program that is being implemented by Strathmore University Business School to be precise. And I'll start with Veronica. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Veronica Gakio. I'm the founder of Ankole Luxury, where we make jewelry using Ankole horn. and brass, and then we use semi-precious stones. We also deal with women who make crochet bags. For us, then we do value addition using leather and wood handles. Thank you so much. Back to you, Elisha.
Thank you. And finally, we have Morris.
Hi, everyone. I am Morris Biko from Wafugaji Digital. We sell livestock and everything related to livestock. Basically, input that the livestock farmers may need, and livestock after they grow up and everything they produce, from milk to leather to everything. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. And just to give you some bit of context, as I proceed with this, please, for our audience, we have the chat box down there for any question or clarification that you might need to get to hear or be clarified by any one of our panelists. Please just get the questions going, and that we'll have quite a good amount of time where we'll be able to answer to any questions and clarification that you might be having. So just to give you a bit of context, especially now from our context here in Kenya, and maybe particularly the Wafugaji Digital. I think you'll also mention that he's quite in the northern part of Kenya, where livestock is the main livelihood or economic livelihood activity, and it was a good platform and quite innovative, and I can't just wait for him just to explain what challenge is it that they were able to identify there and what markets he's meeting, and this will also cut across all my panelists, and what are the expansion plans. So I'll start over with you, Major, and just give us a bit around what is it that you had seen, that this pain point that you wanted to address, and you found yourself engaging in this e-commerce and trade.
Oh, thank you. So initially, I lived in Liberia for a period of time, and I realized how hard it was to shop in the US and just get things from US retailers, whether it's Amazon, Walmart, Target. So when I returned back to the US, my goal was to connect those West African customers with these US retailers. So our platform allows West African customers to shop online as, you know, a US customer would. We aggregate their products, everything they've shopped for the month, and then we ship it directly to them. We've been doing so since 2018. We've did so all throughout the pandemic as well. And what we're finding is more West African customers, because of the use of cell phones and other technology, are, you know, willing to shop in the US. They want to buy things from US retailers. And we specialize in covering that last mile of delivery, because US retailers don't necessarily deliver to West Africa. So we've been proud to do that. Our customer base is happy, it's growing. We fulfill personal shipping, small business shipping for companies that, you know, want to improve their businesses within West Africa using US products. And we're proud to be doing so. And we've found that our customer base is not only growing, but we're looking to expand to more countries in West Africa. Currently, we serve Liberia, Ghana, and Senegal. And hopefully in the future, we will be serving all of Africa.
Lovely. I mean, I can't wait to see how soon you'll be getting to East Africa. As you have seen your current ambassador to Kenya, how she has been on the roadshow in the US, almost like 2 roadshows now, and just showcasing the kind of great potential that you have here in Kenya and the kind of market that you might probably be missing out as of now. So probably just Major, have that in mind, and we'll be looking forward to host you here and trade with you here in East Africa. Over to you, Sean.
Good morning again, Elisha. Yeah, I think actually our biggest pain point that Rotorcorp elected to solve in Africa and in other markets as well is, I don't know, many people view aviation as, it's a miracle of modern flight. You're flying through the air in an aircraft, but in many ways, the industry is kind of trapped behind the times a little bit as far as like technology adoption. And as an example, the helicopters that we service are Robinson helicopters. They're manufactured in the US and in Los Angeles, California, and they're the most widely produced helicopter in the world. But until we actually built our e-commerce platform in 2018, you could not go online and purchase washers, nuts, bolts, air filters, oil filters, things that operators around the world need to keep their aircraft flying safely. So our pain point is really just a basic e-commerce solution. Customers can place orders for parts 24/7. Often in their own native language or a familiar language and in their own currency. And we found that this just really lowered the bar for access to parts. We've then matched that with a very large on-hand inventory because everybody wants things like Amazon. They want it tomorrow. So we discovered that we couldn't wait for our orders to be filled by the factory and then ship on to the customer. We actually had to carry these items in stock to meet the customer's needs more immediately.
Nice. And now back to Africa. We start with Veronica. Just tell us, how has the journey been?
Thank you so much, Elisha. So my jewelry is made using Ankole horn, and as you traditionally know in Kenya, most of the time maybe horn is thrown away from the slaughterhouses, and we took this opportunity to use this to make jewelry. And most women want to wear something that's unique, something that stands out, something that's not most produced, because that's something that I myself prefer to do. So with our brand, we always make sure that we can even custom make what the customer wants, because sometimes the customer can come and say, I just need, can this be made uniquely for me? And that's something that we love to do, so that someone can just know that this is just me, nobody else is wearing this. So that's one of the services that we offer. And then for the crochet bags, as you know, traditionally, we've always been, as girls, we've always been taught when we were young to make crochet items, maybe for the dolls or for the bags. So we do not want this tradition to die. So with the group of women that I'm working with, there are 115 in the Rakanidi, I've always encouraged them to make more bags, and then I take them, for them, initially they started making the bags as baskets. Then I saw this as an opportunity for me to make bags, to turn them into handbags. So I work with them, and then when they make their baskets, I take them and do value addition using the leather that is sourced from Kenya, and then or wooden handles, and then I make them to these beautiful bags that I make. And through that, we are able to empower these women in the Rakanidi. They're from a very rural part of Kenya, for those that don't know. And then for the environment, we are using the disposed horn, so at least for sustainability, that's covered. So yeah, over to you, Elisha.
Thank you. And finally, and it only just hit me right now that I'd not realized that I was actually linking you up with Morris, because Morris with Wafugaji and all that he's doing with livestock is actually could be your input. So maybe let me hear you, Morris, with Wafugaji Digital. What is this pain? Maybe some of the pain that Veronica has here, we could probably be also closing some deals in this panel. Over to you, Morris.
Thank you so much, Elisha. We could definitely get Veronica some place to place a product, and it will be nice. We'll have that conversation later. So basically, the thing that made us necessitated of Wafugaji Digital to come to be was that there was a really great drought last year. It had gone away for about 3 years now, three years by 2022. And just in the local vicinities, the markets and all, there was a lot of cows that were just being thrown around, a lot of goats, a lot of camels, and it looked like like very losses that were unnecessary. So we decided to create a platform for these people in case anything ever happens in the future. They have a ready market for such occurrences, and maybe they could keep their money in cash or in other forms, and then rebuy stock once that devastating situation. But that was the whole background of Wafugaji.
All right. Thank you so much, Maurice. And I will want us now to switch a bit of the gears. And at this juncture, I would like, and which is the main topic of discussion in today's session, is about the challenges and what are some of the hurdles that you have had to overcome as businesses, traders, especially on cross-border. And I will want to go back again back to the US and start with Major. Just give us what are these kind of challenges that you've experienced in your cross-border trade, and in the process, mention just a little bit of some of the resources that ended up being a bit useful to overcome those challenges. Over to you, Major.
Sure. So initially, one of our biggest challenges were just that customers understood that our service was available, that they could shop in the US and buy almost anything they wanted, and we would fulfill the last mile delivery to West Africa. So that was an initial challenge which we were able to solve with marketing, especially marketing through the internet, through social media, and also word of mouth. But also a main challenge that we had to overcome was shipping time and reliable shipping to West Africa, being able to meet the customer where they are, deliver efficiently, and also give the customer an estimated delivery time that was better than shipping from the US, which sometimes could take months. So we were able to, market and also just fulfill deliveries. And as we kept on fulfilling deliveries each month, word of mouth, which has been a great marketing tool within West Africa, kind of spread. So I think the initial challenges for us mainly were just allowing the customer to know that the service is available, that they can do business across borders, and that they can do so efficiently.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm hearing, and these challenges, I can tell you for sure, they're not any much different from some of the challenges probably I've had some of our businesses here in Africa and Kenya, to be precise. But I'll also want to just also hear from Sean. Tell us a bit more about the challenges and some of the resources that have been useful for you.
Sure thing. I think the first thing that I'd like to address is one of the first challenges that we faced was being able to establish trust and build credibility with our customer base. E-commerce is a little bit different. We're not doing business face to face or over the phone, and we needed to be able to communicate to our customers that we were trustworthy with their money. But especially in our aviation industry, our customers are literally putting their lives in our hands, that we're going to be delivering genuine parts. They're going to be in compliance with regulations. And, and then secondly, the transactional side, that they're going to be able to trust us with their money, and we're going to deliver as promised. On the actual transaction side, of course, when we moved to an e-commerce platform, we had to make sure that we were able to gather all of the information from the customer at the time of the transaction that we were going to need to complete all of the export, logistics, duties, taxes, any of those items that are required for us to deliver those goods. We made some mistakes early on, and I think we've corrected those now. But yeah, I think focusing on trust and credibility with your organization first, and then focusing on the more transactional and export details was a good path for us to begin with.
I'm just trying to imagine how more trustful can one be. You know, this is not a vehicle of $10,000 or 1 million Kenyan shillings if for the local currency. I mean, this you're talking about quite a bit sum of money, and for you to have that trust, almost like trusting Amazon will just deliver your chopper next door, or this very expensive and costly spare parts.
Sometimes for our items can be a bit expensive. For example, someone wants a pair of earrings, then they are in the US. When you check how much it's going to cost when you're shipping to the US, the item actually costs maybe 3 times the cost of the product. So the customer ends up canceling the order, which is doesn't work very well for us. So at times they have to look for alternatives. Do they wait for someone who's maybe going to their country to carry for them, or what do they do? Because maybe that particular customer really wants the item. Another challenge is the mode of payment. That is another challenge that we're experiencing with e-commerce, because there are not very many options, because sometimes you want them to maybe pay through PayPal or bank transfer, and some clients do not want to do that for safety or security reasons. So that's a challenge for us. And sometimes the exchange rate, given how much the currency fluctuation is going up and down. And then the resources that we've tapped into is a lot to do with trainings that we've been having through some agencies, private and public, like SBDC has so many training that is helping us in some of the challenges that we are going through. And then there's ICT, SheTrades, and AWEB. And then there's Kiproba. Kiproba has always guided us on what do you need, especially when it comes to shipping our items, for example, to the US. What paperwork do we need? What do we need so that when we send our items to whichever country we are sending, they are not sent back, or they are not held so much into customs that maybe the client maybe just doesn't want the items anymore because they are stuck for quite a long time. And this is even something that happens even regionally. Sometimes you can send something to maybe South Africa or somewhere else, and due to maybe a lack of proper paperwork, your items get stuck for quite a while. And then there's another agency, MSEA. MSEA has helped us a lot, especially when it comes to East African cross-border trading, because especially when they are during the East African Community Trade Fair that happens every December. So with that, they always help us to carry our items across the border. So through that, we don't have to go through the hassle of how do I get my items maybe to Uganda or to Tanzania or any other country that the East African Community Trade Fair is happening. So those are some of the resources that we're having, and many more that we are currently tapping into. Back to you, Elisha.
What some challenges you're having?
I'm certain that we've not encountered the biggest of our challenge yet, considering the time we've been operational. But one of the good things that I've found in these processes, first of all, the location with which we are trying to implement Wafugaji first. We are coming from a period of great devastation. So at least the community is willing to embrace something that could be a solution to the problems that they have. So that's a good thing. But at the same time, there is the challenge of establishing credibility. The good thing is that the society around here it's largely Kushite, and Kushites do these things of living in community where the elders can guide a community to do it. And so there is also that advantage on our side. We go to the elders directly, but the issue of credibility still counts, because getting them to understand how a digital platform could give them market beyond the local reach is still a concept that most of them cannot grasp. Having said that, there have also been organizations, for example, the SPDA. We are actually hosted at the same location as SPDA office in Isiolo. And some of the officers for SPDA have been great mentors in this process, and we've received good support from the community. So the challenge is that I know we'll get a lot of them going forward, but for now, I cannot quantify them completely. There's levies, there's the usual stuff that affect the e-commerce businesses.
Thanks so much, Maurice. And one thing maybe I will just want to point out that is quite outstanding, and what we also wanted to showcase here is no matter how remote one's business is, because for you, if you just go look into your Google Maps and check where Isiolo is, it's quite a distance. It's almost like 7 hours. Sometimes I spend almost like 5 hours drive when I'm going to visit Maurice's SBDC center, which is offering him support. And the kind of terrain that is there, that just shows you how e-commerce and technology just goes against some of these norms and odds. So that's the beauty that we also want to see, how e-commerce is assisting to just defy some of these myths that have been there. So maybe I'll cross over back to Sarah and just give us some more insights around what should other businesses listening to us from the US that should be looking out for, and they want to participate in e-commerce, and especially if they want to get some of their goods and services here to Africa, that they should be looking out for. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you. I think that all of our panelists have really highlighted that e-commerce and doing it cross-border is feasible, no matter where you are, no matter what you're working on. And when we help small businesses at the US Small Business Administration's Office of International Trade, we are getting a lot of questions about how do we get started? Is this feasible? How do we make it through all these different hoops or regulations? And how do I figure out my pricing strategy? And so we do have a lot of resources to help small businesses at any stage that they're in their trade journey. And we are always recommending that small businesses get plugged into local business counseling and training at their small business development center or their women's business center or another SBA resource locally. Our business counseling is available at no cost and really can help them think through their export and e-commerce readiness, selling to other markets, but also just making sure that their company is strong enough to grow and ready to scale. We provide our international trade resources on SBA's Trade Tools website, which is sba.gov/trade tools. And when people call our hotline, we're really walking through what tools on that site are probably most helpful for them and what is the eligibility and where could they maybe prioritize their efforts. One of the great resources that we are always flagging is the Commerce Department's e-commerce lab, which provides a website globalization review and gap analysis report. Some of our panelists talked about, how do people find them? And in a cross-border environment, it's important to make sure people know that your company exists, but also that your website looks appropriate and can be found. And so that's what that report does, and it's really useful. For businesses working with Africa, SBA is proud to be part of Prosper Africa. It's a presidential level initiative that works to strengthen two-way trade and investment with Africa. And we have, through that website, toolkits for businesses in Africa as well as in the US, whether they're looking at exporting, importing, or investment. And so that is a great place to get started in looking at what's available and what resources. And I'd just like to echo that what Sean and others have said about taxes and fees. That's definitely one of the confusing points that small businesses bring up. And we do recommend people also check out the country commercial guides. So there's a lot of resources. Most of the information is all on demand or at no cost. And we're always encouraging people to reach out to SBA's hotline, which is available by phone or by email. The email is international@sba.gov.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for those insightful tips, especially for businesses who are looking at getting into cross-border trade from the US coming to all the way to Africa. And just also to point out from our end here in Africa, Kenya to be precise, we have the small business development centers. And we have 6 centers currently across the country, in Isiolo and Kiambu, where Maurice and Veronica come from respectively. And here is where they will probably get information, even as simple as this webinar that we are talking about, where they get to come and showcase some of the good things and trade that they're exercising. So we also offer, because again, if you remember at the beginning, I mentioned that this model transfer to Kenya and Africa for the first time, we are looking mainly to offer the counseling, or if you call it advisory training at no cost. And thanks to the great support of USAID and American people, and also together the Kenyan government, both at the national level and at the county level, who have been partnering with us to ensure that this information reaches to the businesses in good time. And some of the other sessions will be having later on, and in the course of this season of the e-commerce day, we'll have people like Kentrade, Keproba, MSEA. All these are institutions that we are collaborating and working with. We have partnered with them in one way or the other. And some of the information that they have, you find they are hosted and housed within the SBDCs. Those are the small business development centers across the country, where now some businesses are able to get this information. So again, this time we are here also to listen and respond to any questions and queries and clarification. And I'm happy to have seen a few questions that have come in from the audience. And we wouldn't want to bog you down with all the technical details about our businesses. We are here also to share experience and just to share some bit of insights based on what we have, some of our businesses have been able to achieve in their journey. And I will start off with now the question and answer session. And I will be giving it randomly based on those which have been specifically directed to any of the panelists. And then we will go from there. So we'll probably have some 26 or 25 minutes in. And please feel free to drop in your questions on the chat boxes, and we'll be able to answer as much as we can. And for any further information or later queries, feel free to, we'll be able to respond to them. So the first question, and that this is directed to Sean. What has been the most surprising part about selling internationally?
Oh, that's a great question. I think one of the most unexpected aspects of international sales for us has just been our customers that operate Robinson helicopters are scattered all over the world. I think understanding where they are located and getting to see those as orders come in is really surprising and rewarding. In fact, the day that we turned on our e-commerce platform and went live, I came in the next morning, and our very first order was from the country Moldova. And we had never done business in Moldova before. I did not know where Moldova was, and we had to go look at it on the map. But it was really remarkable to me that someone who we had never met face-to-face, spoken to on the phone, or exchanged emails with, found our website and purchased parts. And so I really personally enjoy that aspect of it, seeing where all of our customers are located just geographically. On the negative side of surprises is when we get caught with maybe not fully anticipating or understanding the import or regulations with a given country. We might get an order held in customs. We've never not had a shipment delivered. Sometimes there's a little extra time, money, or effort involved in getting that final mile, though.
Wow. The other side, the negative side of the surprise was an interesting one. But Moldova's story, that's one to take home. And just also here maybe from the African side, I guess the surprises are not just in the US. I guess also maybe here in Kenya and Africa, to be precise, we have Veronica. What has been the most surprising thing when you started, since you started playing part in this international cross-border trade?
Thank you so much, Elisha. Sometimes it can be a bit surprising when someone wants something and they want it immediately and it's custom made. So you get, and you do not want to disappoint your customer. So what do? You have to rush, and maybe the kind of, because horn comes in 3 colors. It comes in white, in random is the brownish one, and in black. And then they might specify the kind of horn that we do not have. So you have to start rushing, because our horn comes from Uganda. So you have to start rushing and trying to get who has this horn, because we've not been expecting this kind of order. And then maybe the client wants it so soon because maybe it's for an event. They want to go to a wedding, and you cannot tell them you have to wait until we get horn. So because of that, now we know who has horn when you have horn. So you borrow even from each other. Maybe your workshop has horn, a certain color that I need. So it reached a point now we have to borrow horn from each other, because you do not want to disappoint your customer. Otherwise, the fact that we are a custom-made kind of brand, and then you tell your customer, oh, I'm so sorry, you can't wear that particular item on the wedding, then it beats the purpose of saying that we like doing custom-made items. So it always surprises us every time. So it happens a lot. Or maybe someone asks for something, then the last minute they're like, oh, can I change, please? Especially the bags. And you see now we are working with semi-illiterate women, and some are illiterate. So someone wants to design their own bag. How do you do that? And when I tell them, I cannot even speak to those women. I have to get someone to translate it for me. But they're like, no, you're going to try to explain to them. I tell them with the communication barrier, it might even reach a very different way. So kindly bear with me, or would you just take what we have, because we have lots of different designs, lots of different colors, but our customers are like, no, but I want to design mine in a special way, in a different design. And yeah, that's something that really surprises us. But at the end of the day, the customer is always right. So you have to fulfill their orders.
Interesting. That has left me laughing all the way, because I'm in my other life, I'm a livestock farmer. So I'm trying to imagine Veronica calling me and telling me to slaughter my cow, because it has to, the horns have to be used for this specific custom, because the buyer has this specific specs that he needs to be used. Thanks. I see another question that has come in, and I'll direct it, and it has been directed to Major, and this is what the audience is asking. Are there any tips you can share for decreasing your risk when selling in a cross-border environment? How have you worked around that?
Great question. Decreasing risk. I don't know. Business is risk. I would say the best way to decrease risk is, like Sean said earlier, to build that trust with your customer, and also build a completely impeccable reputation. I think that's the biggest thing with customer trust. You have to be able to deliver when you say you're going to deliver, and also be able to speak with your customer whenever those negative surprises pop up. That they have to understand that you're addressing their issue, and that your primary concern is to deliver their business and facilitate their business for them. So I think when looking at decreasing risk, you decrease your risk by creating a great bond with your customer, creating a great customer experience, great customer service, and being able to just engage with your customer, especially when things go wrong, because everything's not going to go smooth when dealing with cross-border trade. So it's mainly being able to do that customer engagement and stay at the forefront of speaking with your customer, even if it's online.
Interesting. And I don't know, Maurice, back here in Kenya, even with
Mhm.
your, as you've just started, what are
Yeah.
some of your ways you've dealt around reducing risk in your business?
The main way that we have tried to reduce risk is, you hear me? The main way we have tried to reduce risk is by getting everybody to come with their item to sell. You see, we are trying to, when we hold items for sale, it's just for a period because it's on transit to be sold somewhere. We try to not hold things. Yeah, that's our strategy about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Another question has come to you, Sean, from someone here in Kenya asking, and this is both for you and Major. Has any of you who are from outside Africa, that definitely applies for both of you, ever had to deal with convincing anyone on the legitimacy of an online marketing platform? Because that's one of the challenges in Africa that she expresses. So I'm seeing Major is all green, smiley. I think Major, you might want to start off, and then Sean can chime in.
Sean, I was gonna let you take it, but yeah, of course, one of my main challenges initially was explaining that to the customer, that yes, you push a button online and we'll make the delivery to you. And it sounds simple, but again, that trust has to be built. And one of the main things that really helped with us dealing with that skepticism is having our initial customers spread the word that we were legitimate, that you could push a button on your phone and we would deliver the last mile for you, and you would be able to receive it at your door in West Africa. So I think if we can go back to what I said before about customer service and building that trust helps a lot with the skepticism of, does this work? Is this true? And it can be a slow process, but believe me, once one customer is happy, that customer then helps relieve the skepticism that you might deal with the next 5 or 10 customers. And Sean, you can go ahead and add, because this is
sure. Yeah, I'll be happy to jump in here, Major. Yeah, I mean, really, this goes back to our initial conversation about trust and credibility. We seek to build that in a number of ways. Number one, in our marketing, we do a lot of content development. We'll do a lot of written materials that are published on our website, put out on emails, so on and so forth. And the idea here is that we're establishing ourselves as a subject area expert. So I think if people can easily see that you know what you're talking about, that goes a long way to establishing credibility, perhaps not trust yet. And the hardest thing I can do is ask somebody who I've never met to send me a large sum of money, and that I haven't met, and I probably will never meet face to face. So in this regard, we have to acknowledge and understand that there is a lot of bad behavior out there online, and especially in the e-commerce world. And I think people are right to be skeptical at first and exercise some caution. But one of the other things that we found to be very useful is seeking validation from outside third parties that have their own trust. As example, these might be awards. For example, we were named by the SBA as the Exporter of the Year in 2019. Well, everybody clearly knows the SBA, and if the SBA thinks that Rotorcorp is worthy of being a recipient of that award, then I can probably trust them that they're going to do a reasonably good job. Also, news and media accounts are a great way to do that, because then we can turn those around and put them back out to our customer base on social media. And the goal is that our customers should be able to do an online search and not only find our website, but also independently verifiable validation. Number one, that we exist, and number two, that we're credible and trustworthy. So it all comes back to that.
Nice. Very insightful. We yet have another question. I see we are not doing bad on time. And this question is being directed to Veronica, and I think I'll also extend it to our two colleagues from the US. So do you have any advice on return policies? Because I think someone had you mentioning about how some people request you to change for them some products. So do you have any advice on return policies and customer service when you are selling internationally? So Veronica, let's hear from you, then we can jump to Sean and Major, then Sean.
When it comes to return policy, yes, I do. So for example, because I use some stones that are cast on the horn. So sometimes the horn can break, but not easily. So what we do is we ask the customer to return back, maybe it was a bangle with a horn. As long as you bring back the stones back to us, we are going to give you another bangle for free without charging you anything, so that at least we maintain that customer relationship. Because sometimes horn is delicate. It can just break on its own, or maybe the customer has exposed it to too much sun. So that's one of the return policies that we have. And even maybe the shade of the horn is not on what you really wanted. Because like I mentioned, horn comes in 3 colors. So sometimes the client wants the piece of horn to be really brown. When we say random, it's the brownish kind of color. So sometimes when the customer gets it, they might decide, I think the outfit I wanted to wear my item with needs the necklace to be dark brown. So at times what I do, especially for the local clients, if someone orders an item, I can send even 2 or 3 for them to choose from, so that they can see which shade of the color I ordered, does it go well with my outfit. So with that, I think the customer is always happy when it comes to the jewelry.
Nice. Major, how have you gone about your return policy and customer service?
So this is interesting for us. We do have a return policy, but because our service is fulfilling the last mile delivery, a lot of customer purchases are very specific. These are things that are not within West Africa. These are things that they might be familiar with. These are also things that are helping or improving their businesses. So since 2018 of doing business, we've never had one return. We've always had customers extremely happy with the time they've received their goods, and again, because their purchases are very specific, and we fulfill the last mile of delivery for let's say a prime example is we just had a pretty large order for a customer that loves to shop in the US for clothes and often shops at Nordstrom Rack. And we were definitely expecting that to be, one of our first returns, just because, again, clothing items and retail items of that nature are often returned. But again, once it was delivered, these were things that were not in her home country. And these were things that she in no way wanted to return back to the US. So fortunately for me, our service is more about providing that prime customer service experience, delivering quickly. And most of the time, that's what satisfies our customer, because a lot of times the things that they're ordering are very specific to their needs, and a lot of times those things are not found in their home country that we're delivering to.
Sean, please feel free to chime in. Sean, please feel free.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that. So being in the highly regulated aerospace industry, we're a little bit lucky. So we don't generally have customers that are ordering the wrong size shoe or shirt or pants. They're being ordered by part number. So these generally are out of a published manual. But once something leaves our quality control system, that means like it's under our direct watch, it actually has to go through a pretty extensive inspection before we can accept it back as a return. And frequently what happens is if it's something small and they ordered the wrong part, we'll drop it into their next order and just let them keep whatever they had. If it's something small, if it's something big, they may find another buyer for that item, hang on to it for a little while and resell it themselves. So that we don't really take direct returns a lot. But I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. Wow, I'm seeing quite a number of questions still coming in, and however, I would like us to probably just come to a wrap end of our session. We had 1 hour to have this wonderful conversation together with these panelists, and I think I could just give each a minute just to give that one piece of advice that you can tell someone who's contemplating of plugging the business into the e-commerce. What's that one thing you can tell them in a minute? So I'll start with Maurice, Veronica, Major, then I'll close with you, Sean.
So for the people, especially in my side of the world, who intend to participate in e-commerce, there are options. We are one of the options that you could use to participate in e-commerce trading, but a lot more other ways people can use to participate in the digital space of selling things. I know from where I come from the world, a lot of digitization has not happened yet. But at this is the time that this generation of people is the generation that's bringing digitalization to this side of the world. And so for that reason, it provides options for the people from this side of the world, and also from people. Okay, case example. I'll take the case example of a manufacturer of milking equipment. On this side, most people have never even thought of the idea of milking camels using machines. That provides an option for inefficiency in the process. So from what we're providing an option for the manufacturer to come and sell to the farmers, as well as the farmers selling to the outside world. Everybody wins. That's the digital commerce platform.
Lovely. Veronica.
Yeah.
So for me, my advice is especially to the small businesses in mostly in fashion. Make sure when you're doing your name, it's a name that it's easily searchable, so that your customers don't struggle to find you online. So that when they're looking for you, it's easy to find you. It's easy to be able to purchase your items. And also when you're doing your costing, be sure that especially because of the exchange rate, be sure that you're not going at a loss, because this is something that has happened with quite a number of small businesses. So when it comes to exchange rate, how you've priced your items, you end up going at a loss because there are so many aspects of the costing process that you've not incorporated. And then when it comes to packaging your items, be sure to package them very well so that when they reach your customer, they are in good condition, and you're going to get a good review out of that. Over to you, Elisha.
Thank you so much. Let's jump borders and cross to US and start with you, Major.
So if I could give one piece of advice, I'd definitely say, you know, the world's a smaller place now and everything's online. So what is going to differentiate your business from other online businesses is customer service and customer engagement. I found that having superb customer service differentiates you from your competition. Also, it allows your customer to feel connected to you, build trust, and as well, you know, build a better rapport. So if I can, you know, give one piece of advice, I definitely say in a sea of e-commerce and websites and links and everything, there has to be a real human aspect to customer service and making sure the customer's needs are met. That's kind of how I've survived. So I suggest you invest in customer service as well.
Very important. Finally, Sean.
Yeah, so we've spent a lot of time talking about trust and credibility today. I think that's the key takeaway. But I would also add how important communication is, and building on what Major stated. You know, we have our WhatsApp phone number all over our website. Customers can reach us on Facebook Messenger. You know, all over the place. We are easily reachable with questions and inquiries. And also, once the transaction is underway, communicating with the customer that you've received their money, you've received their order, it's being prepared for shipment. It has shipped. Here's the tracking number. Just being able to provide all of these details on a step-by-step goes a long way to making that customer feel comfortable and assured that they're going to receive their goods in you know, a good orderly fashion.
Thank you so much. I know it will be unfair if I go without at least having the person who I could consider my co-host in this panel, that's Sarah. So do you have your parting shot? I know we were meant to have our businesses talk to the other businesses, but also us as the facilitators, I think we could have something to say. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you. Thanks for being such a great partner. I think partnerships are really important for small businesses to think about, and that there are federal, state, and local resources that are available. And then for companies also, you know, cross-border contacts in Africa, there's prosperafrica.gov. We really do try to make ourselves accessible through our hotline as well. And so we do want small businesses in the US specifically to be considering SBA's Office of International Trade as their partner and advocate to help them as they get started or as they have challenges. Thank you so much for moderating this panel.
Thank you so much. And that's all the time we had for today. And it's a goodbye from us. And we hope for you to join in, for those who will be able to join physically for the e-commerce day here in Kenya, Africa, Nairobi. And we'll be looking forward to many more such kind of conversations moving on forward. Thank you for now and goodbye. And thank you so much, my panel. Bye-bye.